Alright, so here we are back for our final episode of assembling this boat. So here I'm basically just putting in some bladders into the tramps. These are actually like a Wahoo pool toy that Bugs from Avalon Sales got me onto. You can get them from like Big W or anywhere. And the boat came with like these styrofoam blocks, but I need all the help I can get. So I like to put these in there and then pump them up as much as I can. And then after that, I got some just standard Dyneema to replace the stuff that was on there because it was a bit worn. And I spliced that onto the eyelets and then laced up the tramps. So once I had the tramps lashed up, I pump up the bladders to get them nice and tight. And yeah, this is my $22 pump I got from Big W. My brother has a fancy Ryobi electric one, so when he rigs up, it sounds like a sort of Formula One car with the blowers going into the side pods. But I've just got my crappy $22 pump that spews more air out of the hose than it puts into the bladders, but it does the job. To keep the hiking straps nice and tight, I used a bit of 1.7 mil dinghy control that I lashed down to the sort of hull so that the hiking straps can't slide out the bar and get loose. So I just sort of set that up as a little 2-to-1 purchase and yeah, lash that on there to keep them nice and tight. And it also sort of helped keep them up so it's easy to get your feet under.
Started as a whisper, message from a new world I'd never known. Something about it felt like it'd been waiting
had to make a new rear wing wire. I don't think I really had to, but the other one was getting pretty tired. This boat had a really weird system of kind of like a lashing that turned the wing wire into kind of like an upside down Sydney Harbour Bridge. And I believe that was so that it could sit under the tiller because this boat has the wing bars quite far forward. And I'm pretty sure someone did that because on a standard boom back in the day, I reckon the tiller extension would have fouled it. But then because I'm running the sort of smart rig from Avalon Sales, the back of the boom's actually quite high, and I reckon I was able to get away with it. So once I got this wing wire on, you'll see me a bit later on test it and smash the tiller extension into the roof. But after I've sailed it, I have sort of proved that it works just fine. Occasionally, you feel a little bit of resistance in your hand, like as the tiller extension slides across the wing wire, but it hasn't been enough to give me any grief. And I like structurally having that sort of big triangle formed by the two wing bars at the bottom, and then the wing wire going across the top.
I can't help but think that it's meant to be, that I'm finally right where I'm supposed to.
So this is just making a new rope for my adjustable wand. So mine's a little bit different to say my brother's boat where it has like a continuous dynamo loop where you pull it each way. Mine's got like a shock cord that pulls it one way, and then when you pull on the rope, it pulls the bottom of the wand up towards the pivot point, and that shortens it. And I've kind of kept that system on this boat because I like how if it sort of gets sketchy, you just crank this rope and it shortens it immediately. I'm replacing this rope because I think in my haste to grab as many useful bits as I could off the old boat, while I was pulling it apart, I just cut it off. And then, of course, I ran out of dynamo when I was doing this, so I ripped this bit of rope out of the core of some dinghy control, which is why it's pink. So you might remember from earlier episodes that these stainless forks are actually intended for kind of architectural applications where they're likely installed and then probably left for a long time. But I figured there was no way that I was going to have these rod lengths right the first time. And I wanted to be able to quickly remove them in case I break something while I'm away or whatever, and have spare parts that are kind of common to sailing boats. So I drilled them out to a 1/4 inch clevis pin and then fitted a standard sailing split ring. In some of this footage, you might be able to see a very small 1mm gap between the bush inside that lever and the bolts that I'm putting that nut on. Just keep that in mind for the next episode when I go sailing, and that will explain something that comes up later. So I think this was like a Sunday afternoon, and this big sort of cold front was starting to come through, and I wasn't really focusing on the weather at all because I was busy trying to make this little Dremel work. And as you can see over the next little bit of footage, I just kept cutting out over and over, and I had to be so gentle so that I didn't kind of stall it trying to do literally anything. And it was getting super hot. It was kind of like burning my hands, even though it was brand new. So once I'd done this job, I actually took it back to Bunnings, and they kindly refunded it for me. And then I forked out the extra $30 and got the next model up, which is like way, way, way better. That's what I should have done in the first place. So that cool change did hit, and it hit pretty hard. It went from being sort of shorts and shirt weather to thickest jumper I had, trackies, the works. Still didn't help the Dremel getting hot in my hands. It just made everything a lot colder and less pleasant. But I kept going because I really wanted to get this boat done so I could sail it later in the week. And here I'm just cutting up a little bit of, I don't know if it's carbon tube or black glass, I don't know what it's off. This bit of tube though, I'm just cutting it up to sort of make the little kind of like fair leads that I put on the foredeck where the bowsprit socket is, and I was using those to guide the wand elastic and the up and down line underneath the cockpit bonnet, because I didn't want them running down the side of the hull because it's just sort of not very neat. So I was trying to come up with a way to lead them aft and keep them where they need to be. So I got sick of paying a fortune for relatively small tubes of araldite at Bunnings, and I went and had a look online and found this model aircraft company in Australia that makes or imports this American 5-minute epoxy, and it worked out heaps cheaper, and they didn't even send it as dangerous goods, so the freight was affordable. I could have got it from some of the composite companies in much greater quantities, but then by the time I paid the dangerous goods surcharge on the freight, it was going to end up more expensive. So that seemed like the best option, and it was a relatively good product. Next, I had to cut a gap in the bonnet for those two tubes to sort of slot into so that it all ended up quite neat. And then my taping job a bit later on is going to kind of cover this up. See, that's what I was talking about with the Dremel. See how it sort of goes and stops, goes and stops. It was just so frustrating.
If I let you into the secret, would you listen? I can hear each sound calling my name, and I feel angels around when I start to sing, and suddenly it feels like heaven's not so far away. Tell me, can you hear the symphony? And before too long, I found where I belong. I can hear it, oh, I can't stop the rush. Every note I touch, I can feel it saving me. Tell me, can you hear the symphony?
So here I'm just installing the hard anodized clam cleats that are going to control that adjustable wand I was talking about before. Being sort of a victim of the Bunnings bolt section, which is particularly bad at our local store, I end up with a whole bunch of kind of random, completely unsuitable bolts when I'm doing this kind of thing. So I think these ones are zinc plated, and maybe the nuts are stainless. I don't know, but it seems like I tend to break things before the corrosion becomes an issue, and whatever component these things are attached to, ends up getting replaced. So my sketchy Bunnings bolts haven't caused me many issues yet, but if I could find a way to get stainless ones quickly locally at like 7 o'clock on a Saturday night, I would definitely do that.
Empty streets, but I kept searching for your trace in the dark. Losing myself in the endless memories of the end right from the start. You're an obsession in my head, I can't forget your eyes.
Now, it wouldn't be a Tom Stutchbury sailing video without some kind of food. So these are Cooker's Country cookies made in Donald, Victoria. They're like a home-style country cookie, sort of what you would probably traditionally find on a farm or something. But now they're produced by 25 employees in regional Victoria, and you normally see them on like aeroplanes or in like a motel somewhere in those little like individual packets. And yeah, not sure if you have them overseas, but if you can find them, definitely get your hands on them. So I'm a bit proud of this one. This is a bit of like 3 mil rod blind dinghy control, and I thought since I'm making a video about it and to keep some weight out of the boat, I might as well strip the cover off the part where it goes from that clam cleat aero cleat you saw earlier up to the front of the boat and then back, so that only the part that goes into the cleat actually has cover on it. So yeah, here I'm basically pulling the um, core out of the cover, and then I cut the cover short, bury that back inside the core, and then I put a spliced loop in the end of the Dyneema part so that I could kind of cow hitch that onto the mast stump. Then I feed the clam cleat, aero cleat, which is a cleat mounted on a rope, um, yeah, sort of onto that. And that gave me a 2-to-1 purchase that's all hidden up under the foredeck so that I can adjust the shock cord tension that pulls the wand down to the water if I need to, but at the same time, it's like completely buried so you don't actually see it.
Empty streets, but I kept searching for your trace in the dark. Losing myself in the endless memories of the end right from the start. You're an obsession in my head, I can't forget your eyes. Your kisses burn my skin, I feel so empty inside.
So here I'm just using my little F10 D-splicer needle to make a Dyneema strop to hold a 20 mil high load block, sort of about halfway up between those two cleats, so that the Cunningham system can use it. And this is just giving me like a basic little cascading system, but I'm not quite sure it's going to work because there's two cleats with the red rope through them that are up the top of that mast stump. Basically limit how far down I can pull the actual main part of the system. So the red rope will essentially go block to block too soon, and I'm not really getting enough cunner on. So I might have to rethink this and either just put a sort of 6-to-1 purchase between the cleats and the bottom of the sail, but that's probably not enough, or do something a bit jazzier, and maybe I can put a nice cascading system under the foredeck, and then lead that out to the wing bars or something in the future. So if you're planning to build a 48-to-1 Vang system in your in-laws garage, probably don't tie the boom to the garage door bracket, because I don't think they're intended to have a 48-to-1 Vang load pull onto them, particularly when the boat's lashed to the trailer and the only place for that load to go is up into that little galvanized bracket. So in this case, probably do as I say, not as I do. So since I salvaged this Vang system off my old boat, I didn't really want to make all those like primary cascading strops again, since they're not that old. They've only done sort of a year's worth of sailing, but in reality that was like 10 sails, and they were all sort of stretched in, and all the lengths were perfect. So I decided I'd slip a low friction ring inside the little loops at the bottom of the strops where they used to go through a really large D-shackle on the old boat. And then I just used some thin Dyneema to lash this low friction ring that I just inserted to the big low friction ring that came on this boat. So that way I had two nice large radiuses and then a whole bunch of thin Dyneema going back and forth, sort of like what you'd see on some synthetic rigging systems and stuff on the internet. And that seems to work really well. It doesn't give me any weird geometry issues, and it's allowed me to recycle more Dyneema, which is always good for the environment. And you don't have to watch another splicing montage. So yeah, here we go. Finally, getting this boat outside and getting a rig into it. After that weekend that had just gone past with the insane rain and 30 knots that you would have seen a bit of, I was really lucky to get this kind of Monday night where it was absolutely dead calm. So I got home from work and got straight into it. I decided that I better use the spreaders that came with this boat, even though I've got a really nice set of Mach 2 ones off the old boat, because the prodder that goes between the sort of spreaders and the forestay was like an inch or two longer on this set than it was on the Mach 2 set. So I'm not sure whether this boat has a rig that's kind of a long way back, or if someone's sort of done that to get a bit more grunt down low. But I thought instead of reinventing the wheel, I'll just use what I have for now. and then see how that goes. So as you can see in this shot here, the rig's probably leaning a bit far back. So I decided I'd just slacken off the forestay and bring the side stays up a couple of holes on the chain plates, which is relatively easy to do when there's not a breath of wind and you're rigging on the side of the street. So yeah, once I got the cunnel on here, using my little purchase system, it seemed like the rake was pretty good. The sail was looking nice. This is actually the flatter of the two sails I've got, and it's also a lot smaller in the head, and it seems a bit longer on the foot. Apparently, before it was converted into a smart rig sail, it like won the last race of the West Australian state titles a couple of years ago by like a leg in 25 knots. And it just seems like it's going to be a nice little sail. It's made out of a relatively heavy duty material and it sets up really nicely. So once the boom was on, it was time to crank the vang on and see how it goes with a bit of load on it. It's always a bit of a nervous time. On this vang system, I've got a sort of idea that I copied off a 14-foot skiff we bought off Facebook Marketplace a few years ago, where you have two low friction rings on the sort of first strop of the cascading system, and then you can crank those two rings together as hard as you can. So you've got like a inefficient 10-to-1 system, and that makes sure that the vang's always sort of super tight before you even start, and then that allows you to kind of get enough travel when you're sailing. And then, after that, you can see here I quickly did some splicing and made up the little bridles for the main sheet system that I hadn't installed yet. And this was getting pretty cold because this was 9 o'clock or 9:30 at night. And as you can see, there's not a cloud in the sky. So this was a very long, very cold night, but it was ultimately worth it. So while I was doing this, this was probably about 10:30 at night. Like I said before, super cold by Australian standards, not by international standards. It was only like 8 degrees, but this was a good example of why I've put these stickers all over my boat for the YouTube channel. A couple of guys that live down the street, I assume, kind of wandered out of the darkness and stopped at about the dotted line in the middle of the road. And we're kind of looking at this thing like, is it a crashed plane? Is it a hovercraft? What is it? I was kind of busy splicing and I knew they were there, and normally people come up and ask about it. But unfortunately, these two guys wandered back off into the night. Not sure where they ended up. But those sort of people, I'm sure in future, especially in daytime, when I'm not wearing a hoodie and looking probably relatively ghetto and intimidating, might come up a bit closer and take a photo of the boat and then find the channel on the internet and decide to take up sailing. So to hold this foredeck bonnet on, went through a few ideas. One friend of mine suggested using those riv nut things where you can like rivet a nut into a surface. I looked at that, and then I also thought maybe I can just use like that super aggressive industrial Velcro. So I bought that, but unfortunately the thickness of the Velcro meant that the foredeck wouldn't like line up anymore because it was sort of pushing it up higher than it was originally. So what I did in the end is just bought some like Gorilla two-sided tape, and then put that on my little carbon tabs on the inside of the boat. Then as I pushed the foredeck down, it kind of stuck on that double-sided tape, so it was secure then. And then just to cover up the seams, just like a Formula One car, I used like Gorilla sort of black cloth tape that like the proper American one. I didn't skimp on this one. And I'm pretty happy with how it came up. Like from 5 meters away, you can't tell the difference. So the final job I had to do, I didn't really have to do, but decided to. I believe this boat was originally from Balmoral Sailing Club in Sydney, and then the previous owner in Canberra doesn't seem to have put Canberra Yacht Club stickers on it. And then I thought, since I am a member of Port Arlington Sailing Club, why fork out and get new stickers if I can just cut the bottom off the B and turn it into PSC, and then I've saved $15 and I can buy myself a Big Mac meal on the way to sailing with the savings. So thanks for watching. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment. It means the world to me to hear that people are watching it and liking the videos. On the next episode, we'll get this boat up to the lake after work, see what works, see what doesn't. Do we have to pull it apart again and do it all again? You'll find out.